Thank you. Here we are, Saturday, the 22nd, just having, oh, so he knows this is this wise dog goes, okay, she's talking. All right, go ahead. Uh, we just had the spring equinox. And the minute that happens, my head goes to flowers and color. And so it is true, as you're looking around in the next few weeks, you will see uh, increases in tomato plants and cucumber and zucchini and flowers, because that's just part of the blessing, truly, of where we live. Honestly, so fortunate. And then with supports, those amazing growers, those amazing gardeners. I have a little genetic in me. I come from Italian farmers. I have a lot of lineage. One of them's Chicago gangster. The other one is Italian farmers. So, you know, there's all kinds of things you could do with the shovel, said my mother, who's not from that side. Yep. Barb's clever. Um, and so today, I sent out for those, Jane, I'm sorry you wouldn't have received that. I sent out a little, very tiny little excerpt about talking today about thoughts about thinking. Anybody see that? Some of you might have gotten it. I don't know. I may be in people's spam, because when I send bulk, sometimes it kicks me over 40 people I get kicked out of, but that's there somewhere. Look for it. And I wanted to talk about thoughts today because as we are looking at fear, which is a particular book study we're doing on Tuesday mornings, we're going to be turning towards fear. We're going to be abiding the breath in relationship then to fear, and fear in the body being our number one commitment to experience. But then following the body, we're going to be noticing thoughts. And someone asked me, I don't know if Leslie's on today. Leslie said to me yesterday, and we had an interesting little short discussion, even though Leslie is in Israel now, and we hope for peace there every day. She's there, living there. She said, this guy sent her YouTube. She sent it to me. The YouTube said you have to know emotion before you can know thought. Like, I was like, what? That's interesting. How did he get to the emotion? She said, well, you drop into the heart space, you breathe into the heart space, you feel the sensations. I'm like, yes. Then what? And then you know the emotion, and then you go up. I went, that's not actually possible, just so you all know. Emotion actually is, just so we know, from the perspective of the way we are working with thoughts and emotions. Emotions are the amalgam, the confluence, what's other words, the connection, the right joining of what? Body, body sensations, body experience, and arising thoughts. That, from this teaching's point of view and Chogyam's point of view, equals an emotion. Things we then, in their collective, in their, remember the word we used last week, aggregates, we take those parts, we make contact with them both, and then there is another experience that we can make contact with. It's called the third sphere in mindfulness teachings. Third, knowing body as body, knowing thoughts as thoughts, knowing emotions as emotions. And so that's our understanding as best we have it. And the neuroscience, just so you know, also supports us in this. When we do fMRIs, we see the brain activate prior to the capacity to report. We would call that note, label, name, right? We're going to be doing some of that today. Emotion. Can anybody just review or remind each other about what would name some emotions? We get a little mixed up about the difference between emotions and sensations sometimes, or emotions and thoughts. Just name an emotion. Sad, frustrated, happy, angry, disappointed, empty, harder. Empty is harder.
Shame or guilt?
Guilt, shame. Say it again. Too much stuff is a thought. Too much stuff is a thought that then results, if we make, this is beautiful, thank you, Dennis, makes contact with something we might then call overwhelm. What's another one for Dennis? With that thought, too much stuff, confusion, fear, wouldn't we? But look at can you start to see, right? These are so sometimes subtle or nuanced. Little man, let's have a conversation. We cannot go to the dog. So that wall of people back there, must do me a favor. Don't let him go. Fight with that little German Shepherd there. Are we getting the difference? Is there anybody who's not understanding? What other thoughts then might we have? Little man, good job. Stay there. Yeah, holding him would be great. Thank you.
This is too much.
This is too much. What else? Can't do this. Too hard. I don't have what it takes. This isn't fair. What?
What's the point?
What's the point? Thank you. What kind of, Graciela, let's hang on to that. What kind of emotion might come with the thought, what's the point?
Overwhelm, apathy, sadness, disconnection.
Fusion, despair. Who said despair?
Disconnection.
Disconnection. Right? Now look at the nuance here. There's that thought. And 8 people just named possible emotions, right? That might, and we were all nodding, weren't we? Nobody went, what? I don't know how you got there. We nodded. Why? Because we too know this. But we're going to review that today. If we cannot, well, go ahead, Graciela.
I was going to say sorry, I'm running my
can't hear it. Go ahead.
But it's, I think, I had a word and now I can't think of it. I think it's actually a lack of being really present, because the rat race seems overwhelming.
Yes.
So then it's a lack of presence of doing everything.
You are right. You are actually right. That's a condition of mind that actually contributes to that thought. This is all just too much, getting a hold of us, doesn't it? Gripping us, then the body has also now engaged in that grip, that contractedness, that shake, that quiver, that tenderness, whatever is there, that then equals that emotion. Frequently, Graciela, the other feeling that I came up with was helplessness. Anybody else come to that? Sometimes
they're kind of connected,
aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. That was kind of my point. They're kind of all connected by the body is the body, thoughts as thoughts. And then based on that thought, we have a real opportunity, because a quiver's a quiver, tender's tender, shaky, shaky, but alone, can it inform fully the emotion? It cannot. It can give you a territory, unpleasant for sure, or pleasant, right? Wanted or not wanted. It certainly could, I'm not liking this one very much. It could do that, right? Just the body experience, not a thought in sight, but it cannot give you what we just named, can it? The nuance, the confluence, the detail that can really, from the point of view of the Buddhist teachings, have us truly then what? What would knowing a thought as a thought, a body as a body, and emotions as emotions give us?
Groundedness.
Groundedness, presence, said our new friend Jane.
Rational awareness.
I heard something awareness. What was the first word?
Rational awareness.
Rational. I wouldn't put rational in that, Felicia. All awareness is good news.
Oh, but because it's multiple, I was thinking like that would be more like distinguishable or something. I don't know.
No, we're not figuring. We're knowing as direct experience, no thinking, receptivity. And then with all of that, what would be our capacity? Wisdom. And with wisdom, then what?
Sense almost of control, right? So
Responding. Yes.
Ability to make a good decision.
Yes. We now have the full capacity. We have lit up the neurocircuitry. We've made contact with the whole experience of the body. What does this give us? Sovereignty, authority, information, as Pema says, good news that you can use.
Kind of a base.
Yes, right? Somebody said grounding, right? I know where I am. I know how I am. I know the conditions of this moment, present moment, and I can consequently, with the very naming, says our research, with the very just naming body sensations as bodies. This is crazy, right? You don't have to figure, factor, be rational. Said Felicia, don't you have to bring a certain kind of rationale? No, why? Rational is a limited, actually, we understand it is beautiful, right, being rational, but it also has a kind of left brain focused linear limit.
I guess I was just trying to say like you're rational, meaning like you're in like
Wise.
a calm, yeah, I guess wise.
Yeah, you were saying all of that. Wise, skillful, right? Abiding. Yes. Yes. That is all true. But I wanted you to distinguish because we often frequently mistake that mind that knows body is body, that knows thoughts as thoughts, that knows emotions as emotions. And that awareness then, I don't want us to mistake that as thinking. Oh, everybody's look. Now I got everybody going like this. What? Do not mistake it as thinking. However, it is knowing. So then, what's the distinction? Right? This is a critical error in the mid phase of meditation or mindfulness practice, is that we mistake thinking about for knowing. What's the difference? Come on.
it rises.
It's
Feeling. I know it by experience. I know it by direct contact. I know it, right, by the immediacy of this present moment and whatever body, thoughts, and emotions are arising. I'm not thinking about the body. This hurts. I like this. I don't like this. Why is it happening? I can't believe it. That's called, what do we call that? Storyline narrative. Extra, says Sharon Salzberg. Accessory, said Joko. Don't bring the accessories. We don't need those earrings.
so it's without opinion.
Without opinion, without bias, without prejudice, without conditioning, then we know the body is the body. Can I talk about effort?
Also, that you're not.
You are not forcing it. You're not demanding the knowing. You're then what? What would be other words? We can't demand knowing. And we get frustrated, particularly therapists. They're the worst. We get some therapists. They're the worst. Like got it, you know, right? With ourselves, not with others. I should know this. Well, no, you just then right? The body is the body, thoughts is thoughts. And we know by direct contact in the present moment with open, empty, Dennis, you say often, quality of heart, mind. Now I snuck it in, didn't I? Heart. What about that? And then we'll say, what about, why did I say heart, mind? Because the true knowing is not only a cognizing event, right? There is a kind of open space. There is a kind of, somebody said receptivity. I think, Dennis, that was you. Somebody else said allowing, right? That must happen, right? To truly know, wouldn't it? You couldn't go, I'll do these half, and then I want to do those half. By the way, we all come with some conditioning, don't we, for this? We do. And if we can be honest about it, the truth is we can respond, attend, care, and then hold ourselves, can't we? Better. Except we resist. By that brainstem's nature. We resist what? I don't like grief. Why? It knocks you over. It's frequently not a friendly. It hurts. It feels like something's being torn out of your chest. You can't do what you normally do. This is the number one complaint that I hear when I work with people who are in grief. But I can't do what I used to do. Right. Correct, isn't it? No, and you shouldn't. Because this is the time for attending to the truth of our human experience that also comes with loss, that also comes with sadness and grief. And it knocks you over enough frequently if we allow it and don't get, this is what I do all day, busier as a way of what? Keeping it, coping, says Kathleen, keeping it at bay, away, not interior, not connected, right? And so then we have just explained how we come to use thinking. So what do we now know? What did we just all say about the truth about life? It will come with loss. It will come with grief. It'll come with sadness, disappointment, confusion, overwhelm, right? The whole of this human life will necessarily. I see just two people come off of the screen like, yeah. Necessarily. Why? We're not going to get out of it. Why? Why aren't we going to get out of it? Just a part of the human deal, isn't it? We can't get out of it. Nice to see you, Leanne. Right? We cannot get out of it. And so if we cannot get out of it, we have a couple options. We're going to just name them quickly. So rather than actually be with that whole group of experiences we think of as, I'd rather not, rather than do that, what do?
We allow.
We could.
Yeah.
We don't. What do we do instead? We could.
Shut down.
Shut down.
Distract.
Distract. Resist. Get busier. Get angry. Complain. Right? What else?
Eat.
Eat.
Drink.
Have too much sex, too much binge watching TV, too much scrolling, too much something. And all of that comes with, here it is, folks, again, thinking. I'll bring my attention over there. Thinking. Keep me. Now, the consciousness of that is often not clear, right? The actual intent is not clear. When we go, I think I'll make a I go make another pillow. I'll go do another thing. I'll go, right? Plant some more flowers. I'll go, right? Can be very automatic, very unconscious. So I don't mean to imply we're thinking about it like that. We aren't necessarily intentioning avoidance, intentioning, and it is occurring because now we're in thinking and we're staying fairly glued to it. It is now taking us some distance from our direct experience, isn't it? It can occupy us amazingly. It is like a graphic novel. Thinking, thinking, and more thinking. What is its point? All that thinking.
Trying to find a solution and feel better.
Trying to find a solution and feel better, said Cindy. Exactly. Any hands about how often that works? Here's the problem, isn't it? It works for a minute. Isn't it? Doesn't it? It actually is part of the problem. Like all good addictive device. Like all good addictive device, you name one. I will tell you for a moment, it's actually brief and gets briefer, doesn't it? Shorter, so that you have to either do more often, right? This is its nature. That includes thinking. That includes thinking. My teacher, Joko, would say, the number one addiction, thinking. And then she would add, about you. Number one. What about this? What about that? I don't know. What if they didn't honor me the way I didn't get accepted? There was a problem. How come they didn't do what they were supposed to? Thinking is the number one addictive device. So then we would understand how often we don't recognize it. It is so habituated. It is so conditioned. It is so a habit of mind. We miss most of them. Unless they are a particular intensity. And then we go, this shouldn't be happening. Right? Shouldn't be happening. Okay. Anything else about thinking? So just for a second, I want to talk about some strategies that we're going to use here. So you can play along with you. We're going to do a little more playful version of thinking today. I already can feel Joko going, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. You're playing with thinking. This is ridiculous. We're going to play with it. Why? Because we can also bear down on ourselves a little bit harshly because we are all thinking, right? We're all thinking. And so then the very next thing we do once we have this conversation, the one we just had, is to actually condemn. And so what frequently occurs in meditation, isn't it, is there I was, right? Oh, I did it again. This is ridiculous. I keep trying to stop thinking. I just can't get a hold of this. I'm such a bad meditator. She's such a stupid teacher. I can't believe. I got to find somebody who can help me do. This is our number one mistake. What does everybody know about thinking who's been sitting for at least a minute? Can't believe them, and they are continuous. The practice does not invite us to get rid of them. This is a critical error. Now, by the way, I've been practicing a pretty long time. Every once in a while, I can still hear that under subtext going, I can't believe you're still doing this. Well, I should believe I'm still doing this. I'm going to do this probably till the day I die, and who knows, right? So we have to be very careful about turning towards thinking without judgment, without criticism, without believing we're getting it wrong, without now identifying ourselves as thinkers, because the person who knows you're thinking, yay, isn't the one thinking. Yay! Isn't that great news? So the minute you go thinking, we're going to do a little noting, labeling. You are not the thinker. You are the awareness of thinking. This is a very different relationship. Can you feel, see, sense that difference? Yeah, the one who knows your thinking is present, clear, aware. Right here, right now. How many times can you note that? As many times as you do is as many times as you are in awareness. Yes, yay, right? Good news. Does everybody get this? So then I've heard a few people say, this isn't working for me because I just keep thinking. I have said 1,000 times, you will be thinking, right? The whole time. That's not the point then. The practice does this, and then we're going to do it. It creates a space in which sky-like quality of mind. We can see a thought, know a thought is a thought, allow a thought. It's already here, folks, by the time you make contact with it, to come and be and do its, and then fade. And we can be present for the whole thing and smile because we have just cultivated greater capacity for mindfulness, for heedfulness, for non-identification. I don't have to claim that thought. That thought does not make me me. This is not accurate. In fact, I have said this a billion times. You will never have an original thought. It's all already been thought. Not one. Not one. Right? Can we allow them to rise and be and pass and change and fade and go the whole time, then knowing thoughts as thoughts? Yay. Yes.
I never really thought about this deeply, but is it that your thinking just recedes into the background and you put your focus on your breath or you put your focus elsewhere?
To begin, Kathleen, that's actually required because we get so hooked, right? The thoughts are like cars that we get hijacked by is one of the ways we think of them because we don't yet see them clearly. We buy into them very quickly as truths. Or this is my favorite, and I say this to my husband twice a day. This isn't a criticism, it's just an observation. We already know what he says. This is just an observation. I can be so clever. Observation. What? Wait a minute. Really? Maybe not. Maybe. Right? Can we then see not only the thought, but then remember the word I used, heart mind. There is a whole, but we can't get under that thought, can we? Unless we first recognize the thought as a thought, not as a truth, even when it's accurate. Because it is not enough. Accuracy is not enough. There are many more criterion to truths. Right? Like, is it always true? Is this conditioned? Is there just some set of conditions making this true in this moment? These are just a couple. What is there any evidence that it is not true? Tons. And then how do we hold this moment with this? So then when people say, I am a blank person, and you fill in the blank, I'm a blank person. I'm a good person. I'm an angry person. I'm a confused person. What do I always say? It is possible that you are experiencing those conditions in this moment. And you are not only this, are you? Ever. We are not only angry. We're not only confused. We're not only good. I don't mean that in the essential way. I mean that in the I want to be, look, my Glenda version. Right. So, all right, everybody gets the idea. Mostly, we're gonna have fun with the practice. Let's begin. The dog is, good job, little man. Oh, so good. I'm gonna ring the bell for the group here, and then you guys just watch it. And so we turn this mind away now from hearing, away from trying to make sense, meaning. We're going to let go for a moment of analyzing anything about thinking to see if we can't just make contact. We're going to start in a different way than heading right for thoughts. So let's see if we can't. Experiment, explore, discover. May we dedicate this practice, I want to say it at the beginning, to Marilyn, to Ryan, to all those in current struggle with their health, with their well-being. May we all be well. May this practice contribute. And so we can simply lower the eye. And as we lower the eye, we invite the attention home somewhere into the body. Just noticing the body as a whole. And then, as is the capacity of this mind just beginning practice, we notice the experience of these little contact points. And let's see if we can't leave the thinking, as Kathleen said, let's see if we can't leave it a little in the background and just allow experience. And so I'm noticing a coolness on my upper arms. A little moisture at the nostril. The weight of my feet in contact with the earth. Felt sense of warmth in the torso of my body. You're going to do the same now, just gentle, silent noting. Silent meaning not spoken. Just making a brief contact. And a brief contact really means a breath or half a breath. Oh, the warmth of my hands, breath. The weight of the body a little askew on the cushion. Breath. The dryness in the corner of my mouth. Breath. Just scanning the body gently with an infinite friendliness. The swallowing breath. We begin always in the body in the present moment, exactly as it is. You will notice sounds, particularly here in the garden. And you're going to just recognize sound, let go of it, coming back into the body, checking for whatever sensations might be available based on hearing. As I was just catching the morning bird sound, I came right back into this very pleasant flutter in the area of my heart space. Moving from thinking back to direct experience in this body as it is. And then we're going to begin to just slowly refine our attention from the body as a whole to the body of the breathscape, having so much to tell us about the quality of mind. And the first instruction is simply to make contact with the breath sensations in the area of the breathscape. Noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. And rather than thinking in or out, rather than counting the breaths, these are all useful supports at times. We're seeing if we can't simply drop in to the direct experience of expanding, rising, filling, releasing, softening, settling, emptying. And staying in the experience of the breath rather than any thinking about. The body is a mirror to the mind, has much to tell us. Watch for the habit to think. What did we say? To prefer, to hold opinion, judgment, preference. We're just experiencing this body on the in breath and the out breath. We don't even need to name the sensations. Little man is here barking at his friends. That's my son's dogs walking down the street here. The only reason I'm remarking about this is the very bark will have an impact on the body. See if you can just allow the experience rather than the thought about the bark, the thought about the dog, the thought about continuing, not whatever we're doing with that. See if you can't allow the sound, simply returning to the breathscape, and actually just for a moment doing a little gentle noting here because this can be activating. I just noticed a little tightening around the heart space and just below. Good to know. Can I breathe directly into that space, knowing it, allowing awareness to hold it? Staying for a breath or two. And seeing what happens. I'm going to stay by choice because I noticed that there's a little activation. This is very interesting. I don't need to make a story out of it. I don't need to explain it. I don't need to judge it. Can I simply drop again and again with the breath into the sensation? Can I breathe that little dog bark anxiety? Letting it be as it is. This is called turning towards. And then abiding, excuse me, in the breath in that part of the body. You may notice changes. Remember this being awareness itself. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to change. We don't have to fix anything at all. We're simply abiding the body and body sensations. Letting any narrative, any storyline simply arise and pass. Now, remember, one of our habits is to condemn the thinking, to blame ourselves or others for the thinking, to buy into the thinking as the truth. And rather than get caught in any of these ways, we're just going to notice the thinking, smile at awareness lighting us up once again, coming right back into the body. This is a stabilizing practice, a grounding practice, an invitation to the present moment of this body practice. And then we're going to expand now beyond the body. This doesn't mean that we're going to lose contact with the body's sensations. We're going to let that float slowly to the background just a bit. And open now, we're going to open the container of awareness wider to now include sounds. And we're not just going to do sounds. We're going to do awareness of sound. And then coming back to the body, seeing how we are. So I'm hearing the bird. I recognize bird sound. Come back to the body to feel that felt sense wherever it may be alive here within the breathscape. And since my heart space was pretty activated by the dog barking, it's very available now. And I can notice this kind of expanding, little fluttery, a kind of feels like it's breaking out of contractedness. This is more thinking than you all need. This is just examples. Just make contact with sound, one sound at a time. And coming back into that available breathscape. Experiencing, knowing the body. You may notice thoughts about the sound, thoughts about the body, or thoughts about the practice. Recognizing a thought, we are once again in awareness. We can let the thought naturally fade off. Just coming back to the ground of opening once again to sound. You may notice the practice of toggling between noticing a sound and then coming back into the body, noticing sound, back to the body. And then expanding again beyond the body, beyond sounds, opening that vast space, this quality of awareness mind even wider, bigger, to include the sky-like quality, open, spacious, sky-like quality of mind. Opening to now including thought as thought. And so the practice here is to notice the thought. I'm not having any thoughts. I'm not sure I'm going to catch a thought. I don't even know what that means, thought. And whatever the thought, once you make contact, once again, smiling, knowing that we are no longer caught in thinking. That which knows thinking is not lost in thought. And we simply, as immediately as we can, come back into the body. Breathing there several times. to see how we are. We don't stay tight into the body. We just drop in for a few breaths. And then we're going to open that breathscape, that breath space, and one's mind as wide, as vast as we can. Just resting in that spaciousness. Seeing if we can create conducive conditions for noticing a thought as thoughts. And then the minute you notice, if you could just simply note that gently as thinking or thought, then coming back into the body for a few breaths. I just had the thought, I love birds. Birds are pollinators. Thought. Back into the body. A felt sense of openness, a spaciousness. As we rest in that vast open space, things may be subtler than an actual thought that begins with a capital letter, has a noun and a verb, and then has a period or question mark at the end. And so I was just resting in that open, vast space. I got a little twinge in the heart area. My attention went immediately there, and something like a flash of, I wonder about my blood pressure, but it didn't come up like that. It was just that felt sense. But I know I have moved from resting in open space into that area, smiling once again, noticing the movement of mind, didn't even come out as a sentence. And then I move right back up into that open space. And then for just a moment, we're going to practice noticing what we call movement of mind, because any movement actually is a thought. You just didn't have it as a grammatically correct sentence. And so you're resting in vast open space. I just heard the airplane, 1, felt the warmth of my hands, 2, back into open space. In breath, 3, cold nose 4. Heart pressure 5. And just continue. And then back into open space. Resting there again. Interesting bird sound 6. Movement of thumb 7. You get the idea. We all might be noting a dog bark coming back into the body, particularly if there's any kind of activation. Come back to check. We're not judging, we're not criticizing, we're just in awareness with friendliness. And then I'd like you to see if you can make a distinction between simply the act of hearing and the act of thinking about the hearing, particularly for the group here in the garden. See if you can notice what the distinction might be between simply experiencing sound as sound versus thinking about sound. You might include the body in this assessment. Whenever you get carried away by a thought into a stream of thoughts, sometimes called a cascade of thoughts, recognizing this, we smile once again. We come right back into the breathscape to anchor again for a few breaths. And then open once again into that vast sky-like quality of mind and rest the attention there. We can know body sensations as body sensations without being carried away by them. We can know sound as sound and abide in the vast open space with sound itself coming and going without the mind being carried away by it. We can also know thoughts as thoughts, arising and passing like clouds in the sky, but not being moved by them, resting in that vast open space, with clouds and thoughts appearing and disappearing. Noticing the body sensations as body sensations. Coming and going in vast open space. The mind remains unmoved, stable. Noticing sounds as sounds arising and passing, appearing and disappearing within that vast sky-like quality of mind. The mind remains unmoved. And then we notice thoughts as thoughts, Not me, not mine, not I. Simply thoughts arising and passing in that vast open space of awareness. And the mind remains unmoved. Knowing a thought as a thought. Letting it come and letting it go. And then letting go of all noting, all labeling, all recognizing, just resting back in that vast open space, opening to the symphony of sounds and breath and sensations and thoughts, letting them all arise and pass as they will, but resting in that open, vast, unmoving quality of mind. Making contact with that quality of the space that is still, silent, spacious, and unmoving. Abiding all movements, all change, all appearances and disappearances with mindfulness, with presence, with calm, with kindness, and wisdom. Thoughts without a thinker. And may this practice contribute to our happiness, to our ease, and to our well-being. May it be so for us and for all beings. So be it. Lisa, can you do me a favor? Thank you. Will you go up into my refrigerator, and on the top left shelf, there is a metal tray with the lemon cookies on them. Happy spring. Sorry for those of you who won't get those today. Spring is sprung. I'm going to check here just to make sure. Okay. Okay. So what do we know?
Fast sky is ethical.
Yes.
Had me breathe.
Could not find the breather. No, that's right. Yeah, if we're able to rest in that vastness, that open space, we could call it, that non-conceptual, I really appreciate that addition, Jim. There is no thing other. So there's no me, because in the minute of me making, there's a you. And then there is simply what? The arising and passing of all things, including thoughts about me, thoughts about the other, thoughts about the sound, thoughts about the dog, thoughts about the barking, thoughts about the cookies. No problem. No thinker. So the thinking now, can we see, is not actually our problem, but it never was. And so then it helps us. I hope. Would you hear?
That's what you were thinking.
I was thinking of that, and you're such the hostess. Yes, no. There is powdered sugar in there for those who don't do sugar, and there's half monk fruit. So. So where's the problem? If thinking is not our problem, group, where is the problem? It is not in the thinking, though we frequently mistake it and make it the problem. I shouldn't be thinking. Hard to stay in the body. It's impossible to stay in the body, Robin. We go into thinking, wandering, distraction, right? This is knowing that is the practice. And then we can always come back to the body, or back in the end to that open space. Right? That's right. That is the practice. That's not broken. That's the practice. That's the path. Knowing that you left the body, knowing that you got contracted, that you didn't stay in open space at the end there, that is the practice. Because what now? Once you know that you have left, what's the option?
Coming back.
Yeah, that's the practice. These are super lemony, by the way. I have, my family is super lemon folk.
They're like wake you up cookies.
They'll wake you up lemon.
Problem is in the story and the identifying.
Yeah, Cindy says the problems in the story you make about the thinking, By the way, I couldn't stay in the body thought. Guess what we could take that trail, couldn't we? I couldn't stay in the body thought. What else are we doing now?
Judging it.
I'm judging. I'm broken. I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm too pathetic. I just don't get it. I can't do it. Right? Cascading. Get built right into that one. I can't stay in the body. Nobody without a lot of training can stay in the body. And even when you can, out of a lot of years of practice, you just now notice when you're not in the body, which is everything. Remember, that's mindfulness as well. That's presence as well. That's awareness as well. Knowing the body and knowing not the body is all awareness. Knowing the breath and the not breath are equal in their awareness. Does everybody get this idea? That's equal awareness. It's a very hard idea, right? Because we like this idea. We're very Western. You know, you just aim at the target, you shoot the target, you get the target, you're all good. But anything else in our very critical Western habit is what? Failed. Failed. And it's not just it's failed. We go one step further to I'm failed. Remember the name of my mindfulness book? Failed, fucked up, and still mindful.
I had a quick question around like just the breath and the body. And probably just a good example is as soon as I became conscientious of the drill, I went to when I hung like whoa, and catch the whole kind of thing. But I guess when is it coming back to the body? Coming back to the breath, is that the same thing, or is it breath is kind of separate than the body?
No, yeah.
So come back to I and
yeah.
really ground myself.
Yeah, you said a lot of really right things, Leanne. Leanne said, I noticed the drill and then I noticed the thoughts about the drill or the where am I going or what am I doing with this? And noticing that is number one, presence and mindful. Now we have what? Sovereignty, authority, agency, and choice. What do I want to do with this? Well, if it's at your head, that drill, I'm going to suppose you don't just sit there. Right? You might not. If you're, since it's going, oh, sound, right? Little check, I'm still safe. Now we have options and resource. She's saying, well, is the body and the breath the same? Well, the breath is a little finer, right, than the body. So we make contact with the body first, just get me back here, might be first, right? Global, get me to Illinois. And then I'm going to work my way to Chicago.
Yeah, to get back in that.
Right. And the Chicago would be more the refinement of the breath sensations. Remember, I named some filling, opening, and then.
I found over time that as I practice,
Yes,
is that
all
it
of
just
us.
becomes more of a skill actually to get out of the thought.
That's right.
back to the defines.
Yeah, direct experience. Remember what Jim said, non-conceptual, not me, because then there's less problem. We're making a lot less problem if I don't then go happening to me,
Right.
this crappy life of mine. I can't believe, right, and buying in to these. Remember, not one original thought. Was that a hummingbird wanting a cookie? Right, that really, yeah, we have lemon cookies and the lemon, fresh lemon activated the hummingbird who just went, gonna get some of that. Does everybody know the difference? So body awareness, breath awareness. You can have body awareness and not really be refined into breath awareness, couldn't you? Noticing cold doesn't have so much to do with breath awareness, but however, once I'm in breath awareness, I can't not have body awareness.
That's a great path to get there.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
It's just a little larger target, we might say, right? Just land somewhere over here called that bird. Flipping by my is a good start. And then can I stay and then even get closer? can I notice then just the in breath and the out breath? That sense of breathing. Could anybody tell that once we could move back into the body and unhook from that thought, there was a little less distress, whatever the distress factor trigger might be? That dog barking for me, I was like, uh-oh, little man's gonna go off, and then we're gonna be chasing this dog around the yard.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought, why is that why is the dog barking bothering me? Why does that
Yes,
why is that?
Yes.
My dog bark, no, but it doesn't have to. I don't have to react like that.
no, the why question is the most deadly. Story, it's gonna go right smack into a story. Why this dog, not my dog? Now, what is it about that bark? Well, it's higher. It's now we're analyzing, right? Oh gosh, I'm not coming here with dogs barking. This is ridiculous. Who can meditate during that thing, right? Can't you put that dog away? And I'm not in any way suggesting those were Jane's thoughts, but remember, no original thoughts. It's all been thought, hasn't it? Drill. That guy's got to do drilling today. First thing in the morning, he's got to start drilling. Those
Yeah,
cookie.
even the drill I went to, I took the whole ball,
Yes.
I thought, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I gotta have on that.
Good
This
job.
is insane.
Head on back to the body and the breath, whatever you can make contact with in advanced practice, not in beginning or mid-phase practice. There goes the dog. I'm going to really just notice. We could just simply move back into open space. And then eventually just holding all experience in open space, said Jim, with no following attachments. We're just space, things arising and passing without a problem. But that's an advanced level of practice.
And yesterday, when I spent long periods of time on these freeways that were just crawling along, I mean, long periods of time, I had to get into a certain state in order to notice my breathing, and then not criticize, why am I here? You know, why have I chosen this place to be right now? I was born and raised in Los Angeles, so city of the angels. Well, I had to find my angels yesterday, and I'm so grateful to be here to feel the calm.
Mhm. Mhm. Calm abiding every moment when we can cultivate that quality of mind.
And Dayu said something early in the middle of meditation about smiling.
Yeah.
And I have to remember to smile.
Hmm.
Smile part is the say lack of judgment. Part.
Yes.
Kind of like a step. Did you hear
Yes.
say that about the drilling. You know where I went? The dentist. I immediately
Oh,
thought
yeah,
of
you
my
went that
dentist, and I thought, isn't that? Funny? And I know why, because we have a lot of contact with dentists. But
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter why. Like you're saying, it doesn't matter why.
No.
But it was just, I was like, this is really, actually, this is more funny than anything.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's really helpful to me because I can get really serious. about it.
Yes, we can get a little too serious. We can go into success and failure, which is I, me, mine thinking. I am successful. Look at me. I'm completely failed and fucked up. Look at me. And then, wow, talk about storyline. Because the storyline is rarely, by the way, just little cue, is rarely just the drill, isn't it? It's just the drill and that thing about me now in relationship. And guess what we have just done? Solidified some sense of me in I-ness, the drill and I, right? The experience and I. The smile lightens us up a little bit, gives us a little unhook from the me-ing we have a tendency all to do. And again, we don't want to make that a problem either. No more than thinking is this identification with. We don't have to turn that into there you are, ego polishing, this, right? And we do the same, especially meditators go, oh, see, there I am just thinking about me again. Yeah, knowing thinking. Beautiful practice. knowing thinking about me. What did we say? 99.9% of all thoughts were related to something about you, your experience with the drill, your thoughts about what you should be doing with the thing you have at home. The idea about this is too much, too little, too hard, is all about this now solidified me. What do we know is the cause of suffering? Me making with thoughts.
For me, it's interesting just on the drill. I didn't even notice it. So where was my mind?
On another object. Yeah, or not object. You don't need to notice it. This is not a failure. Be careful, because guess what? Not a failure, because we're not going to pick up every sound ever made,
You don't hear about
right? You're capturing based on, by the way, what would the teaching say? Conditioning. So it could be based on fears about that sound. It could be based on sensitivity to that sound. It could be based on, I'm out there where I can pick up that sound better than you could pick up that sound. It could be, I was at the bird, didn't hear the drill, because by the way, we only hear one sound at a time, no matter what you think you're doing. Yeah, it's not true. One object at a time is all the mind can hold. Even though you think you went, oh, 45 billion things. No, you did not. You went da 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 da. Right, just so you know. And then we went something about me. Something about me. I didn't even hear that sound. Thought. Do we know it? Thought. Is it thought true? No. Doesn't mean anything about you, actually, at all. Let's be careful. I was resting in the vast bird sounds. Doesn't mean anything about you. Don't think you're a better meditator. You're lost in sound. By the
I
way,
was doing
folks.
Great with the sound. I got into trouble when I thought, are you really drinking today? And then all of a sudden I realized I'm thinking about going back to the Y and exercising. And then I need to get up every day at 6:30, so.
That's right.
But until then, my meditation was like,
You were right in there.
oh, I was in the groove. I was like, what?
Yes. By the way, Kathleen just said, there I was, just rolling along. I had it going on. And then I noticed thinking. Well, if you notice thinking, you also had it going on. If you can notice a thought as a thought, you are going on as much as when you thought you were tracking, right? Tracking. You've got it going on as much. See, we don't perceive this correctly, right? We mistake it. Knowing that I'm thinking, knowing that I'm making that thought as a perception, as a preference, as a bias, as is beautiful practice.
It is delightful not having to.
Isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
really.
Isn't
really
it?
freeing, like, come what may.
Oh,
and
wow. Look
Some
at
are
this.
gonna be wonderful and others are gonna be.
That's right. I'm going to have thoughts I didn't even get it right. Then I'm going to have thoughts I didn't get it right until she went, actually, that is the practice.
Well, I also think you're thinking about how all the thoughts are really about us. And I got
Yeah.
to think about all the stuff that's in my head. All about Leanne. And
Yes,
I have,
it's true.
I work with the LGBTQIA population, a lot of trans folks. There's some opinion that I'm not like militant enough, and there's some Instagram page that has me as a Trump voter and actually have an MAGA hat on me. It's really just I can't stop laughing when I see the MAGA hat. But I think the point is that instead of looking at it and worrying about it about me, it gives you the opportunity to be more empathetic.
That's
Like, okay, well, what are other folks thinking?
That's
And,
right.
like, what are the ways that I can at least honor or ask or be curious about that?
Yes.
And that there's more room for that, I think. When
That's
we're
right.
just, like, thoughts that we're ruminating about us.
Yeah.
Fear.
And then we project them onto others, Leanne. And then our fear about our deficiencies, our not enoughness, our trance of unworthiness very magically projects itself beautifully onto you, where I can now not like you, where I can think you're failed. where
Everything else
rather
is-
than me, this is just as much me making.
Yeah.
By
I
the
mean,
way,
because-
because other making is me making, because you can't get to the other without you.
It allows you to adjust the narrative.
Yes, and then create more space.
Yeah.
Which is okay. So whoever is doing that for whatever reason,
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
all
yeah.
know what that's based on, their fears, you've got to be some way because I need you to
Yeah.
something. And by the way, have we ever made everyone happy? No matter what? Right? So let's just use cookies.
That made me happy. I can
Right?
do that right
Well,
now.
by the way, if you're a lemon lover, you went yay. If you're not a lemon lover, you went wow. That's a lot of lemon. Right? Which is true.
What did you say? How about if you're allergic to lemon?
I'm not a lemon lover, but I loved your lemon.
What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean about the cookie? Nothing.
Nothing.
What does it mean about you? Nothing.
Thinking.
Thinking, more thinking. Thoughts about lemons, thoughts about the tree, thoughts about, by the way, no problem either. We have to remember your experience with lemon is not a problem until not only the thought, no problem, thoughts about lemons, until you judge it, until you then demand it. So she should have made these cookies with less lemon or more lemon. But right, you, me, I, right, we start to get into all kinds of stuff. And Leanne, how easy would it be to see something on Facebook about yourself and then get all caught up in some storyline about me or the other? And the very knowing it is the beauty of this practice. Then I make a choice, I don't make a choice, I decide, I don't, it's all fine, by the way. So let's be careful because it's very easy to get caught, I must say. Yep, we're already over. We're going to do our closing prayer. I have books here that we're going to be giving away. I have grapefruit here and I have, what else? Few more cookies inside. There goes the dogs. Just dropping in for a minute. Seeing if you can't just open into sound. It's an ongoing dilemma. We're going to be offering this prayer to the dogs for their friendliness. May I be a guard for those who need protection, just like those dogs. A guide for those on the path. A boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitudes of living beings. May I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow, from greed, from hatred and illusion, and all are awakened. May our practice today contribute to the happiness, to the ease, to the safety and well-being of all beings. May we call Marilyn, Ryan, Felicia, and all those others, calling them silently to mind now. May we all be well. And may this practice continue to be of benefit. So be it. Thank you. Thank you. Thoughts about thinking? Next week, we will not be in the garden. I will be at a special Mindful All Day. There is space. If you're interested, let me know. It's a very different rate. just know that that's also true. And it's through me. It is not through Encinitas Mindfulness Community. So you need to know that as well. Grab, please, a grapefruit. If you would fold those blankets for me, I appreciate it.
Thank
Be
you.
well, everyone. Good to see you. Be well. Sending all blessings to you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Take good care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Yep.